I'm in my room at the hospital, and they don't have enough staff here. So they said, hey, just so you know, there's a thing on the wall, and it's going to be your virtual nurse. That thing right there.
All right, so that patient was in the hospital when the hospital said that this patient was going to have a virtual nurse. There is a camera up on the wall in the patient's room. The nurse pops up on the TV screen and can talk to the patient through the camera. Y'all have been asking me questions about it, so let's talk about it. So first things first, I have been a nurse for 10 years. I left my job working in a hospital a few years ago after being completely fed up with how our healthcare system treats both healthcare workers and patients. Now I work in healthcare reform alongside a bunch of different organizations who are trying to improve our system. By far, one of the most difficult parts of the job that I have now is trying to come up with ways to help the people who are currently struggling within our healthcare system, our doctors, our nurses, our patients, without enabling the people who are making the system bad in the first place. And this situation is a really good example of how delicate these balances can be. It's no secret that the staffing problems in hospitals are getting worse and worse. There's been a mass exodus of nurses who no longer want to work at bedside because of how the hospitals have treated them, because of the dangerous work environments, the workload, the lack of pay. But what that means is the nurses who are left in the hospital are severely short-staffed. Nurses do a lot of extra work that actually don't involve touching patients. We take histories, we do medication teaching, we do disease teaching. The thought behind these virtual nurses is that they would take on some of these tasks to free up the nurse's time for actual patient care. Now let's look at the flip side of this. Is a virtual nurse the best thing for the patient? No. The best thing for a patient is to have a well-staffed unit where the nurse has all the time they need to do a thorough history assessment and everything else. Hospitals are businesses, so they're going to gravitate towards the resources that give them the largest profit margins. And a virtual nurse is not going to be the same cost as an in-person nurse that needs benefits and PTO and all sorts of things. When we insert a virtual nurse into a space where an in-person nurse should be, we're giving the hospital a band-aid to put over a wound that they created. One of the most important things we need to consider is that hospitals already have a track record of pushing nurses' scope of practice past what is safe. If our scope of practice is being pushed, it's not absurd to think that a virtual nurse's scope of practice is going to be stretched as well. It could potentially become very dangerous if hospitals are inserting virtual nurses where a real nurse absolutely needs to be. Again, these things are really hard. Nurses need help right now. Patients need care right now. And we want to help, but when does the help become enabling to a bad system? I don't think there's one right answer.